Ladies and gentlemen, mandugu madada, popote ambapo unatutegea, karibu to the first edition of Mwanazaburi. Hapa tutakuwa tunapata nafasi ya kutangamana na baadhi ya wasanii ambao wanatubariki kwa nyimbo zao, baadhi ya wasanii ambao kwa miaka ama kwa miezi kadhaa ama kwa kipindi fulani wamekuwa kitubariki kupitia kwa nyimbo zao. Jina langu ni Elvis Omondi na nitakuwa nahodha wako kwa kipindi hiki, na unavyotazama kwa awamu ya kwanza tuko na mwanadada. Wazungu wanasema kwamba ladies first, na tuko na mwanadada katika awamu hii ya kwanza. Tutakuwa tunapiga gumzo pamoja naye. Ni mwanadada ambaye anaimba nyimbo za muziki. Kama unatoka kule Lakeside, upande wa Nyanza, najua ni sura ambayo unaifahamu sana. Anaitwa Brenda. Brenda, karibu.
Asante.
Sijui nianzie wapi. Kwa kipindi fulani nyimbo zako zimekuwa zikinibariki mwenyewe kibinafsi, na it's a privilege kupata nafasi ya kuzungumza nawe.
Asante.
Okay.
Yeah.
Na kule ambako unatoka, nimeshasema unatoka Lakeside, although you'll get a chance kujiintroduce. Kule ambako unatoka unasema Kiswahili ni shida kidogo.
Ni shida kabisa.
Si kidogo.
Ni shida kabisa.
Lakini
tunajaribu hivi. Ni neema ya Mungu.
Ni neema. Nilikuwa napitia some of your songs. Baadhi yao ni nyimbo za Kiswahili. Najiuliza, na dada kutoka kule kwetu anaweza Kiswahili vipi?
Hii maneno yote ni neema ya Mungu.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, kwa mtu ambaye anakutazama kwa mara ya kwanza, Brenda ni nani?
Kwa majina umesema Brenda, mzaliwa wa Nyanza, mahali panaitwa Oyao, Kabuta. Senta yetu inaitwa Rakini. Na mimi ni mama ya watoto wawili. Mimi ni mke mume mmoja. Nimeokoka na mpenda Yesu. Hapa Nairobi ninashiriki na kanisa la International Lifehouse Church. Nini tena? So hivyo tu ndio unaweza nitambua hivyo.
Nimependelea sana umesema wewe ni mama, alafu ukasema tena wewe ni mke wa bwana mmoja.
Yes.
Ndio tunaishi katika nyakati ambazo it's a different time. Mtu anaweza kuambia yeye ni mke, lakini wake wanaoana na wake, waume wanaoana na waume.
Yes.
Na tena wanasema kwamba wanataka haki zao. Sijui, I don't know what's your opinion on this push ya masuala ya ndoa jinsia moja, LGBTQ na mambo kama haya.
Nafikiri tu vile Biblia ilisema towards the end you will see these things happening. So this is a symbol, it's a sign that we are in the end times. Because see vitu normal, they are not normal things to happen. They are things that we never used to hear when we were growing up, and finally now they are being embraced by the governments, and people are thinking it is their right. We are not in a place to judge, because judgment is for God. But just as the Bible says, because there are some of the things that are mentioned in the Bible that you will see them happening. So as we see them happening, it's a sign that we are in the end times, and we need to up our game in the godly way. Yeah, for Christians.
As Christians.
Yeah.
And as a mother, sijui kama inakutatiza wakati fulani ukifikiria the world ambayo watoto wako wanalelewa.
Yeah, it's a thought yenye inakuja inatatiza, but The Bible is very clear that train your child in the ways that they should go, and they will never depart from them. So whatever is giving us hope is that we have an opportunity to train them in the way that they should go. So as we train them, we trust God to take them through. So hata sisi unaona tumegrow up, kuna challenges here and there, but Mungu ametusustain. So tuna trust God ata sustain watoto wetu in the best way.
Okay.
Yes.
Indeed, train a child in the ways of the Lord na hawata depart from them. I don't know if you are living those words wewe mwenyewe.
I'm trying my best.
Okay.
As a parent, you never feel like you've done enough. You always want to do more and more. But the much that you manage to do, you live one day at a time and thank God, because you can't reverse the day that has passed by. So you thank God and trust God for better tomorrow. Yeah.
Speaking of children, wewe mwenyewe you're a minister, wewe ni mwinjilisti, mtu ambaye I think your main activity ni kueneza injili. Na tukiangalia kuna dhana fulani kwamba watoto ambao ni watoto wa mapasta, watoto wa maelders pale kanisani, most of the times wanapotoka sana. Sijui kama umeona, is it an observation yenyewe mwenyewe umeiona ama ni dhana tu ambayo iko hapa nje?
Nimeiona, I've witnessed it in quite a number of families, and these are families that unaona yenyewe they depend on God for everything, but ukiangalia unaona tu kuna mtoto mmoja ama wengine tu wamepotoka kabisa. I think the best thing yenye nimeona ikifanyika is that they always come back. Hawapotokangi tu hivyo waende kabisa. At some point they always come back and become very good and loyal spiritual Christians. So one thing nime realize it is a challenge, a temptation sort of to the parents, but the more our parents wanna continue trusting in God and lifting their children to God, they never really go astray, wapotee kabisa. Eventually they will come back. Yeah. Yeah, so you just do as a parent, an elder in the church, pastor. I'm not an elder in the church,
but you're a minister.
Yeah, I think the prayers that we offer to God when we go to God praying on behalf of our children, crying, lifting them to God. Shetani atajaribu hapa pale, but at the end of it all, we will win. We are on the winning side. Yeah.
Okay. I think there's you need a principle ama nini that when the children wakiwa wanalelewa, especially in such like an environment where the parents are actively in the ministry, most of the time they survive by the grace of the parents. The gospel they know ni ya mzazi. Wanajua injili kulingana na mama ama kulingana na baba. Lakini wakienda campus pale, wakienda high school pale, sasa wanaanza kujitambua wenyewe, na probably they don't subscribe to this gospel that they know, they knew before. Lakini venye umesema, they later come back to mean that wao wenyewe sasa wanakuja kutambua Mungu in their own capacity. Si kama watoto wa mchungaji ama watoto wa
I think as parents who are saved and are serving God actively, we need to really do much of engaging them again into knowing God themselves. We tend to cover up more. Unaombea watoto sana, unawafunika sana, you know. And sometimes we fail to teach them to know that they need to take this thing as a personal thing. See, like I come to you and I say, Jesus Christ is my personal savior. So of course my child, like me, when I was growing up, my mom was a very spiritual woman. My dad died a long time ago, so we grew up with mama. So mama would pray for us. You become sick, anakwambia piga magoti, she lays hands, akemea mashetani, and you get healed. There were instant miracles. So you knew if something is happening to you, mama yuko. But now until you come to realize that hey, salvation kumbe ni mama, sina mama kila siku, then you decide and take the salvation yourself. I think wazazi pia tunafaa encourage watoto to, as we preach to people in church, isikuwe tu ni ya watu. But watoto pia kwa nyumba, we become the first priests. Tunawaambia, you know, if you don't do this, you need to do 1, 2, 3. If you don't do it, I won't be there to cover up for you. Yeah.
Okay. You've talked about your mother and the prayers. It reminds me of a song from where we come from, by I think he's now the late.
Yeah.
It's called Chacha Denja Lamo
Merwa.
Yeah. How was growing up?
Growing up was
Uyoma.
By the grace of God. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Like I've mentioned, my dad passed on a long time ago.
How old were you?
Was I 4 or 5? Yeah.
So
4 there.
Do you have any recollection? Uko na kumbukumbu yote?
The only thing I remember about my dad is that kuna siku alinichapa. Imagine that is the only yeah, that is the only incident.
Unaweza kumbuka nini ulifanya?
It was in 1995. I think no, I was going for my pre-primary. I just started school. So kuna hizo harakati mtoto hataki kwenda shule. So one time we went, I think I was crying in the morning. I never wanted to go to school. I used to go with my elder brother. So kwenda shule, unaona ile umetoka kwa nyumba utaki kwenda shule. Alafu tukaenda tukafika, tukapata mwalimu hayuko. Tukaambiwa na mama mwingine hapo, mwalimu wenu hayuko, rudini nyumbani, ameenda meeting huko Chianda. I recall the words. Ameenda meeting huko Chianda, endeni tu nyumbani leo, hamtakuwa shule. Si tukafurahi, unajua tulikuwa tunataka kwenda shule.
Tukarudi nyumbani.
Tukarudi nyumbani. So kufika tukapata father anafika fence. Alafu akakumbuka venye tulikuwa tunataka kwenda shule. So akaona ninja. So kurudi akatuita. Sarah, Kevin, my brother was called Kevin. Kujini hapa. So kuenda, unajua nafika, kuna viboko hapo mbele nafika. Mbona mjenda shule? So baba si mwalimu ameenda meeting Chianda.
Yes, unaongea Kijaluo.
Kwa Kijaluo, unajua na ni mtoto. Akachukua tu kiboko huko mbele alikuwa. Tuka kimbia tukilia. So ndio madhe akamwambia, si wameambiwa mwalimu hayuko. Wataka shule bila
mwalimu.
Yeah, so that is the only thing I remember my dad doing. The only thing. But we were still very young. He passed on. Unfortunately, it was abrupt. He had some stomach complications. I think he had eaten something. So si mtu aligonjeka for some time. So si tulishtukia tu madhe amerudi asubuhi na watu wanalia kwa boma hizi. Unaangalia ushikanishi, but I also remember the time of the funeral, vile alikuja kwa hapo, so you know, I would be carried, nione the view the body. So from there, maybe I can talk about we grew up without a father. We were 8 of us. And then, 8 na sisi ni wale tumezaliwa hivi.
Mkifuatana.
Tukifuatana kabisa. Actually, when you see all of us, by the grace of God, all of us are here.
Wow.
If you see us together, utajua nani ndio mkubwa, nani ndio mdogo.
So, when the first born ama?
I'm the 6th born.
Oh.
Yes. So na huyo brother yangu ni 5th born mwenye tulikuwa tunaenda naye shule. So we've grown up with our mom. Our mom was a housewife, so it was not easy. It was dad was doing some, the hard jobs, farming stuff. But now after he passed on, we didn't have anybody to help us in farming. So our lands would go without
just go farmed.
Yeah. So it was hard when people were reaping their crops. Sisi Madhe alimanage to, unapata alimanage to kulima, we call it kirundu. The shamba that is just around the house.
Around the house, yes.
So unapata maybe kuchoma mahindi, kufanya nini hizo mtapata, but after mmemaliza hiyo ya kirundu, it was survival for the fittest.
Oh, okay.
So luckily my mom was saved. She knew the Lord. So our survival was just by the grace of God. I remember there are some instances she would come home, ameenda kutafuta, karudi, hajapata. The only thing tungefanya ni kuchemsha maji, na kulikuwa na machungwa ingine hapo nyuma ya nyumba. So we would take the leaves of the machungwa na smell vizuri, we put in the water
kama majani.
Yeah. So inatupea hiyo smell, we drink that water and we survive. Kama angefanikiwa tungepata uji tukunywe. I remember there's a Christmas that we had uji. Unajua Christmas kwenye watu wanafurahi kukula, kupika nini. Though we had some our other uncles, but our survival sisi yetu ilikuwa tu yetu. Unajua pia hauwezi blame mtu sana ati akusaidie because you're not entitled.
But mlikuwa mnasaidiwa? As in when it comes to Christmas, because for me, growing up, I also grew up, part of it. I grew up in the village, not Karachonyo, but Kamuango, Kamagambo, and I used to live there with my grandmother. And my grandfather was in Nairobi, so most of the time, even during Christmas, he was not there. But I remember the brothers to my grandfather. One of them was they were 3 brothers. So 2 of them were in the city, and this one was the only one in the village. So when it came to Christmas, he will do shopping for all the families, all these 3 families. When it came to school time, books for all the kids. Now the father, now his kids, and my grandfather, and the kids of my grandfather, and now us, the grandchildren. He will cater for all of us, and we'll feel like we are equal. I don't know if that was the same for you with your uncles.
For us, when we were born in a polygamous home, that is, my grandmothers were 2. So there was not that kusikizana sana. There was not that love sana. Actually, the love ni sisi kama wajuku tunajaribu bring out, tukutane. So I don't remember a day when we were supported. I don't know if my mom was given something, but if she was given, we would feel it.
So Christmas, chapat,
hizo machapat ilikuwa tu kwa neema tu ya Mungu, mama amejaribu akapata. But I remember there was this one Christmas when we only had uji. So one of my siblings was sent to call, another one was alikuwa kwa shosho. Akuja kunywa uji. Ndio Christmas watu wanakaranga, watu wamepewa vitu, by the way. Sisi hatukuwa tunapewa. So bro kutoka nje akaanza kuita Felix. Actually he was calling on my big brother now. His name is Felix, but the name yenye inajulikana nyumbani ilikuwa Boy. Boy, kuja ukunywe uji. And nani mama is like, hey, mute tu akuje. But you see, we survived with that. And one thing Mungu alifanya, yani God covered us. So that amidst hizo kuteseka sana, sometimes kama tungepata unga, kuna unga tunatembea tunatafuta mboga, una hiyo mrenda na nini, shachemsha mpate chumvi. Kama mna chumvi muombe kidogo.
Is traditional? Kuna ile deck.
Yeah, so mkishapata mweke chumvi na ugali. That's a very good meal.
Okay.
So from that was in my lower primary. But now when I was to go to class 1, I went to my aunt, the brother to my father, took me. Alinichukua mimi. She was staying in Nakuru. So nikaenda kuishi na Nakuru. So class 1 nikaanza kusoma Nakuru. Nakuru, my aunt was another one. She was.
Before we go to Nakuru, I want to believe 1995, around that that period.
Yes.
They still where we come from. They still wife inheritance.
Yeah.
Tunaita ter. Was that pressure there from your mother? Did benotere, as we say, alipelekwa? Was she inherited?
Okay, now I don't know about the pressure, but I remember when because we were left in our grandfather's home. So when mom wanted to get boma yake, there was someone. There was someone, though she was very saved, but she was left very young, by the way. She was in her 30s.
That's very young.
So around hapo, unajua ungejua sana, lakini later on in 1999, 2000, when we were going to piga boma yetu, there was someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's how was the shift from the village now to Nakuru?
Okay, now my aunt came for me. I think because we were many, my mom was overwhelmed. So she decided to pick me up. I don't know what criteria they used to pick me up, but I remember I loved going. Mimi ni mtu wa kuendaenda. So mimi hata wageni wangekuja, auntie, mimi naenda na wewe, you know. I was that kind of a person. I think that's why waliona mimi naweza survive nje. So I went with my aunt to Nakuru. My aunt was a mother of 4, very big people. But now, unfortunately, 2 walikuwa shapas. So alikuwa na 2 girls remaining. So I went and stayed with her. The last girl was in Form 4 when I went there. The first girl had another son. So ni kama nilikuwa tuna grow up na huyu son wake. My aunt was doing pombe business. Alikuwa anachukua koraja kupika changa na busa. So and she was staying in a single room, very small one.
And that is the same place where
in
she's
Flamingo
brewing.
Estate, yes.
It's called, what is it?
Flamingo. Yeah, Flamingo Estate. So it was just a curtain, you separate bed. Hapo chini ya bed, hapo kuna tank kubwa ina brew alcohol, ina brew chana. And then alikuwa na nyumba nyingine pia hiyo side nyingine, another single room. Kando yake alikuwa anatengeneza busa na anaweka vitu za busa hapo ndani. Alikuwa anaitwa Nyaoyoma. So huko Flamingo nje kulikuwa na Wakikuyu wengi sana wanaitwa Nyayoma. So it was I started my class 1 there. Staying there was not easy. But now that I was the first girl was in Form 4. The last girl was in Form 4. So hakuwa nyumbani most of the time. So mimi ndio nilikuwa nyumbani na huyu grandson wake. So mimi ndio mkubwa. So between class 1 and class 3, me I would wash clothes, I would cook, I would do everything because yeye ako busy na customers. Kwa sababu hii single room ndio bar bado. Hapo ndio bado watu wanakunywa. Akishapika mchana, jioni watu wanakunywa hapo. So ameka kitu. Unaona hapa ni bed yake, kaa hapa kwa bed. Ma customers wanakaa hapo around the table wanakunywa. Unajua customers wachanga pia ukiwapea glass wanakuambia onja kwanza. So auntie alikuwa anakunywa.
Hiyo ni lazima.
So hii mambo ya chakula kupika ni mimi ningeangalia. Nipike tukule na huyu grandson wake. Either tulale ama tungoje customers wamalize. Tuoshe hizo vitu, nioshe hizo vitu and then tulale. So it was not easy.
Did the presence of drunkards ilikuwa ina affect ama ulijaribu hata kuonja hapa tuanzie hapo? Because for me before to end hapo kuonja, for me where the way we grew up, we never saw alcohol or such like things, but I remember I have a faint recollection kuna penye those far relatives, I think there was somebody who was brewing busa, and there was unga I don't know ni unga ilikuwa inanikwa kwa jua.
Yes.
And then tukitembelea imeanikwa kwa tunaikula hivyo.
Mkarango.
Kitu kaa hiyo. Sasa how did you wewe ulionja ukisavu watu ama
nilionja changa? Actually kama si Mungu by the way I would be a drunkard. Because I would sasa unatoa vitu kwa meza, mtu ameacha hivyo, you know?
Hiyo imebaki
unachapa. I know very well the taste of changa. Busa sasa ilikuwa uji. Hata unaweka sukari na ukunywe bwana. Hiyo mkarango before itengenezwe, sijui mchicha hizo. We would eat them. Actually tulikuwa tunachukua tunaweka sukari.
Zilikuwa tamu sijui kwa nini.
Ni kile sikumbuki ni kama whether nilikuwa nalewa ama silewi, but nilikuwa nakunywa. So one thing is I got affected, not only by the customers but even my aunt, because she was drinking. So she would be violent. She was violent with me. Alafu unajua alikuwa anajulikana alikuwa mkali sana, so alikuwa yani tusi. But sasa ilikuwa sana after ameshalewa. Kama hajalewa amemaza tu hapo ni mkali, lakini akishalewa utatukana na jina mama yako, ufanywe nini, unaona, upigwe. In fact niko na alama nyingine hapa. This is for my aunt. Na alinichuna usiku kama amelewa. So after kunichuna the following morning ananiuliza, Sara nini nimekufanya hapo? And I'm like, Julie kumefura. Unaona kama alama iko mpaka sasa hii. It was bad. So luckily the daughter huyo form 4 alikuwa. Na alikuwa hata auntie akinipiga. So kuniuliza hiyo asubuhi, Sara, what has happened to you? Nikamwambia, no, ulinichuna. Akasema hii ni kucha ya mtu. So sasa unajua ninamwambia pia nikilia, so dota wake pia alikuwa amekasirika, anambia, mama sasa chuna mtoto kwani ulikuwa unafikiria nini? Unapiga tu mtoto ya watu. Dota yake kumwambia akanyamaza. Akaita jirani yake, rafiki yake, akamwambia, "Wailimu, hebu kuja." Hii inaweza kuwa kucha mtu au watoto wananiekelea. Wailimu akasema, lakini nilisikia mtoto akilia usiku. So inakaa tu kijiti. Anasema inakaa kijiti tu ile mgwara. So unaona ile anakuwa remorseful lakini akwambii. So unaona tu ana act remorseful, anakuambia sijui uende ununue nini, unaona things like that. But my stay there was not easy because even with the customers, ulikuwa unaona mtu, because I was enjoying kuchezwa. Unaona mtu amelewa, mtu anacheza, you know. Anataka kucheza na wewe vitu kai, so auntie ndio alikuwa mkali akikuona anakuambia, na nikufukuza umeenda. But now I stayed there until I finished my class 3. So kwenda class 4 madhe aliambiwa, mamangu aliambiwa mtoto wako anateseka, utarudishiwa mtoto kama amekufa ama amegeuka kitu kingine. So alitafuta pesa kuja Nakuru. Na alikuwa na brothers Nairobi. So akakuja Nakuru akatudanganya kwamba yeye ametoka kuona brothers wake, so amesema apitia tusalimie. So vile mimi nilimwona, nilikuwa 3 years mimi sikuwa nimemwona tena. So hata nilikuwa ninamsahau. So ninaona mama anakuja hivi, nilikuwa nimekaa nje. Anakuja, sikuwa namjua, basi namwangalia. Sasa akifika karibu akacheka, akasema, Sara, unijui? So vile aliniita na kasmile kwa mama. Nikakimbia nikamhug, nikalia. So after hapo tu nikamwambia, mama mimi nataka kwenda na wewe. Akaniambia, utaambia tu auntie hivyo. So vile aliingia kwa nyumba, akasalimiana, mimi nikakaa na yeye, nikamwambia, auntie mimi nataka kwenda na mama. Na uzuri ilikuwa December holiday. So auntie akasema, Sara si uko karibu kufungua shule? Nikamwambia nitarudi. So madhebi akasema, maybe amemiss wale brothers wake, so aenda waone atarudi. So I didn't have things by the way. I used to put on nguo za au makuzo, but unaona ako form 4, mimi nilikuwa
yuko class 3.
So nilikuwa navaa hizo, and then it so happened the first daughter passed on. Na huyo first daughter ndio at least alikuwa akininunulia usan wake vitu, anaweza niletea a few things. So bila nipass tukabaki na usan wake hapa. Huyu mwingine, huyo daughter wake mwingine ndiye alikuwa analiza form 4. So sikuwa hata na manguo ama viatu, so madai alibeba. Madai alikuwa amenibebea kama mwenye ananiletea. So hizo zinaniletea ndio nilivaa tukitoka.
Karudi Oyoma.
Nikaenda Oyoma.
Okay.
Yes.
But is your aunt still there?
She passed on. Unfortunately, but she was later on. She passed on when I was in campus. She became my good friend. She was like a mother. Akirudi home, unapata ni mimi sasa alikuwa anaweza relate na mimi na kama mtoto wake. But mimi pia si ati nilikuwa nimeshika hizo vitu sana, cause at some point nilirealize ilikuwa pombe, ilikuwa but she meant well because I was going to school. She would provide food, and you have a shelter. What more do you want as an orphan? So that was
food, shelter, clothing, uko tu sawa.
Yes.
So karudi Oyoma ukamaliza,
nikaanza class 4 Oyoma Ragini primary. So I did my class 4 to class 8 in Ragini primary. I passed.
Hiyo ilikuwa bado 844 ama
844. Yeah. In 2004 nilifanya class 8. I was the first student. I went to Lwak
girls. Makofi.
Yeah.
Hiyo tutaweka sound effects. Watu wa Lwak.
Yes. In Lwak I was a good girl.
Lwak is it a Catholic school?
Yes.
Ni Saint what?
Mary's.
St. Mary's.
Yes. I almost forgot. It's been a while because I in Lwak from 205 to 208. So that is almost 20 years. 15.
No, it can be 20.
Yeah, that's 15 years. So from Lwak, I was actually before I went to Lwak in Rageni class 8. When I was almost doing my KCP, I became very sick, and it found when my mom alikuwa amechoka. She had prayed about her getting something to do. Because sasa sisi tunaenda high school, unaona? Wengi wetu tunaenda high school, ana pesa na yeye sasa kusoma, lakini haja yake ilikuwa watoto wasome. So she was very prayerful. She prayed, and to some point she got an answer that was crazy, that anafaa kuhama ushago aende Nairobi, and we were like, Mama, are you out of your mind? And so she moved. She said, Mungu ameniambia nitoke hapa.
Akahama na nyinyi?
No, she left alone with my other 2 siblings. Wadogo wangu.
Na wengine wakabaki?
Mimi na wengine tukabaki ushago.
Tukabaki na nani?
Tukabaki tu peke yetu. Yaani madhe, wacha mimi nilimuuliza, mama yawa, surely. Ati Mungu ameniambia nitoke hapa.
Ende Nairobi kufanya nini?
And she had been praying. She went for prayers for like a week. So the day she concluded her prayers, Mungu alimuonyesha usiku saa 9, Mungu amemwambia Salome, toka kwa hii boma. Hii boma inachomeka. Toka na watoto. So akakuja, ati akauliza aende wapi? Nairobi. And she doesn't have a place to go to Nairobi. But now the brothers and the siblings were around. So akasema yeye atatoka na watoto wake wawili wadogo. Atatukujia baadaye. So anasema kwa hiyo ndoto alikuwa anasikia tu sauti inamwambia hivyo. So akauliza, alikuwa anataka kuchukua shosho. Shosho yetu bado alikuwa. So akaambiwa wachana na huyo mama, siku zake zimefika. Wewe enda na watoto. So alienda Nairobi by the way. She had a friend in Nairobi called Rose or Mary. Okay, ni Rose mama ya Mary.
Rose Mary.
Rose mama ya Mary. So she came and akaingia hapo kwa Rose. So Rose was her prayer partner. Walikuwa naomba sana. akapeleka watoto kwa sister yake, watoto wetu wawili. So madhe alikuwa anatafuta Kenya afanye, but again walikuwa naomba. So kuomba sana akarealize, akamjibiwa. Baadaye mamangu alikuwa anapata answers crazy. Akaona hiyo siku ya mwisho ya maombi ati ameenda kutafuta nyumba huku saizi ya Kiambio estate. Alafu akapata nyumba single room. Akauliza bei. Akaambiwa iko vacant, ni bei kama hii. Akaona ameingia kwa hiyo nyumba, akaanza maisha. So wakarudi tu kwa nyumba, akapigia rafiki yake story, wakarudi kwa nyumba. So ilipata kama big bro alikuwa ndana sponsors, alikuwa amepata sponsors. Na sponsors walikuwa wanampenda sana. So kumbe big bro pia alikuwa ameshaenda kwa sponsors wake, alikuwa tu ameeleza form 4. Akaenda huko kwa sponsors wake, akamwambia mamangu is around and I want her to do something, maybe apate kitu ya kufanya, kitu ya kufanya. Na watu luckily wakamwambia wewe ndio mwambie atafute nyumba. Yeye kuambiwa aenda atafute nyumba atalipiwa mbio Kiambio. Akaenda akapata ile nyumba yenye aliota. Iko vacant. Akasema basi ndio nyumba ilionyeshwa. Hapo ndio alianza maisha. So vile alianza kuishi hapo, akuuza mboga, mandazi. Sisi pia unaona umemaliza class 8 na kuja kwake, unangoja pesa ikipatikana uende form 4. So around that time hiyo ya nikifanya class 8, I became sick when she was not around. That is what brought up the story. I became very sick when I was almost doing my KCPE. And hakuwa sistangu second born alikonga na fellowship na vijana wengine, hakuna job wenye wanakonga private. So wakakuja kuniombea. So vile alikuja kuniombea wakasema, Sarah, you've been depending on your mother's salvation. Now it is time you take it by yourself. Your mother is not here to pray for you. This thing you have to take by yourself. And you know, it was that head on. And I was like,
na ni vijana wakubembelezi.
Vijana umaliza form 4 hao. So unajua nilikuwa na headache mbaya sana. Mpaka mwili wangu ulikuwa yellow. Na madhepi unajua Nairobi na hiyo situation bado angeweza kuja. So nilipiga magoti chini. Wakaniambia sasa leo utaita salvation, just shout Jesus save me Amasina. And you'll receive salvation, you'll receive your healing, and your life will be okay. And I cried to God. Actually, that is the day I got salvation now.
And you received salvation by force, by fire.
By fire. I received it and I got my healing instantly. And the following day I went back to school. Because Evo too? Yeah. Evo too. Na me God healed me, akaniokoa. Nikarudi shule. It was a week to KCPE and I did and passed my exams. Yeah.
And you went to Lwak. Let's get to Lwak. How was Lwak? Because my perception of Lwak is not a very good one.
What do you know about Lwak? That was a good school.
I'll reserve my comments for now. The interactions that we had during our youthful days.
All right. I see. But Lwak was a very good school when I was there.
Okay.
It was among the best.
It's still among the best, by the way.
At some point it dropped, but I know it's a good school. It was managed by the sisters. We had a sister principal.
By the way, so the principal is a sister.
Yeah.
You have sister teachers also?
Yeah, we have sister teachers, but
not all of them.
Not all of them. Yeah, not all of them. It was Lwak is strict. Lazima uende prayers za Catholic, whether we're Catholic or not. Yeah. So I know much about Catholic because 4 years is not a short time.
So you can pray the rosary, those things you're not being taught.
Rosary linishinda. But I don't know if you are Hail Mary.
Hail Mary, Mother of God.
Yes. Yeah. So hizo nilijua. And my stay there was good. I became I was a prefect. I became a CU chairperson when was almost finishing. So I finished when I was a CU chairperson. Yeah.
There's this court judgment that I think it was delivered a month or so ago, that children in schools should not be forced to go to church services, or if it's a Muslim school, Islam services. Like in your case, you say you are not a Catholic, but it was a must. It's still a must, by the way, in Catholic schools for you to go to the mass and everything. I don't know, what's your opinion on that? That children should be given the option and the ability to choose if you're going to church or not.
Giving children a lot of freedom is not very good. In as much as I was not Catholic, I think it instills some discipline in me, knowing that on a certain day it is a church day, whether I like it or not, and so I had to be very disciplined. And the discipline came out. I came out with it even after school, after high school, because when I went to the university, now you had the freedom to either stay in your room or go to the service. But I was very disciplined to go to the services that of my choice, or whatever I was feeling was good. So I think for children who are underage, they need direction. I think they should not be just be given freedom to choose on what to do. They should be given direction, so that if it is a Catholic school, maybe what they need to do is to ensure that they have all the denominations within the school, so that it is on a Sunday, the Catholics are going to the church, the SDAs are going to the church, these others are going to their churches. Now they can choose not to go and things like that. Because it is shaping their lives in a way. So that's my opinion. But of course, when you wanajua, wanajua zao. But I wouldn't go for, because I'm thinking now that I'm a mother. If I take my child to a school and then they're given that freedom, to me, they know that on Sunday we go to church.
We go to church,
And I'm hoping and trusting they will grow knowing that we have to go to church at some point. But now if they go to a school in Onambiwa, you can choose whether to go or not. An idle mind,
the devil's workshop.
So they need to be engaged, they need to be given direction.
So you went to which campus, which university?
I went to Moi University.
Moi Eldoret.
Yes, main campus.
Ikoka, inaitwaje? No, there's a place for forgotten.
I've also forgotten. But I've just realized that I'm almost clicking 10. I'm almost 10 years after.
10 years after campus.
Yes.
You can forget.
You
can easily forget. So campus kitu kama hiyo. I've forgotten that name. Hapo kwa campus sasa, I want to assume that already you've received salvation.
Yes, I did in class 8.
By force, by fire.
Yes, and I had to work with it because it is the best life I saw around me.
Yes.
I emulated it from my mother. So the only best thing I could do was that. But then I realized as a child, your parents become your first role model. So if they are doing it wrongly, you definitely do it wrongly because you think that is the right thing to do. So my mom was prayerful. So after receiving salvation, I started the walk with a clear view of what salvation is. Even if I was working for God, I would do it knowing that now I'm not just doing it because I have the voice and to entertain people, but I was doing it knowing that I'm serving God. Yes.
Okay. So, I don't know, at what point do you start singing? Because I think we've gone so far. At what point do you start singing?
I started singing when I was very young. Even before I went to Nakuru, I remember I would sing. Because my mom was a preacher. So she would take me with her to meetings. Mimi alikuwa anapenda kutembea na mimi. I think it's because of the kipaji ya uimbaji.
So she used to go to which church?
Voice of Salvation and Healing Church.
Oh,
in Vosh.
Vosh.
So we
Vosh
go to
Kisumu.
meetings. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the headquarters.
Yes.
So we would go to meetings. Sometimes we would even walk to a place called Mbigwa. Nimbali. Uko karibu na Luanda Kotieno, because ilikuwa kutembea, so kukiwa na something called Roho, coming together.
Oh, people come together.
We would go and he would push me to sing. Sarah, beware. Sarah, go and sing. So I would sing, and I would sing amidst very old women, and people would pray. They would, the way Vosh people, you pray with your tears and your mucus and everything. People would cry, but then after I had sung, as little as I was, after I had sung and kuona watu wanaomba wakilia, nilikuwa na wahurumia. Sasa nimefanya watu wanalia. Yeah, but you see, now I was singing and I didn't know why. I just had the voice, and of course I would learn songs wakiimba. So ilikuwa hizo songs that, hallelujah, hallelujah, and people.
Waiza kupiga. Do Vosh, do they beat the drums? Bull?
Not really. Not really, but they would do it with their hands. Ufikirie kuna mambao zinapigwa hapo.
No, that's serious.
Yes, and we would see God move. God would move, It was a blessing. Then after I got salvation, I started singing, especially in high school. Anytime I got an opportunity to sing, I knew I was serving God. Yeah.
So, let's say in high school, or even before, who are you listening to?
I would listen to, before I would, because I was in Ushago, I would listen to Caroline Oyao, Nyakanan. Nyakanan she's still there, a Luo singer who was singing very, very powerful songs. But her songs are still powerful until here. The Otieno Titos, the songs that speak words. Songs when zinakuongelesha hivi inaisha unapiga magoti unaomba. Yeah, so I would listen to them. When I went to high school, now that I was coming to Nairobi to see my mother during the holidays, I would listen to Angela Chibalonzo.
Chibalonzo, the late.
I would listen to Sarah K. Yeah. And Emma Chichi, Yeah, so I also got, around that time, I think early 2000 is when Esther
Wahome
also came up with Kunadawa. So I would listen to them. But now I loved Chibalonza, Sarah K. And I loved Chichi's songs, though Chibalonza alikuwa number one.
Okay. At this time when you're growing up, do you see yourself as a musician? You're just singing?
I was just singing, actually. I just loved singing. But
what did you want to be?
I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to do civil engineering. And it's because in class 8, there was a teacher who mentioned that, we have very few ladies civil engineers in the country. So you wanted to be one of the few? Yeah, I wanted to be one of the few.
So when you went to Moi, you went to study?
I studied sociology.
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 You didn't end up in civil engineering.
I think, but I didn't. But I think God was just ordering my steps, because the line I took, I embraced it later on. So, I didn't like it, but I embraced it later on. So
as a sociologist, what do you do?
I do a lot of social work. I do a lot of talking. I do a lot of research, community work, and things like that. So you train people. Okay, what is the work of a sociologist? A sociologist is someone who understands the society from its own perspective. So we try to understand when and then it is a mother of all social sciences, so it's a bit diverse. But now if we specify, let's say we specify to maybe counseling psychology, then I want to understand you from your own point of view. I won't impose things on you. So if it is research, I will go out there and try and understand whatever I'm researching on from their own point of view and things like that, and try and come up with a solution to the social issues.
I want to believe that is very helpful even in your ministry.
Yeah, that's how I'm saying. I think it was God just ordering my steps. Engineering was done.
You think you know, but the Lord plans.
Yes.
He has already planned.
Yeah, it's been very helpful in ministry, because I get to interact with so many people, different issues coming up. You need to manage all these things. So that knowledge is very helpful. Yeah.
So the first time you stepped into a studio?
The first time I stepped into a studio.
Were you in campus somewhere?
I was in campus. But now I had started writing my own songs in Form 4. Actually, at Form 4, that is when I realized, I could be maybe an artist. Because I composed around 3 songs in Form 4. And I really treasured them. I would sing them. Then when I went to campus, now I was writing a number of songs. Then later on at my 3rd year in campus, I looked for a man of God who is a producer. I reached out on Facebook and I said, you inspire me. He's also a Luo musician.
It's called?
Okidi.
Oh, yeah. John Okidi.
Yeah.
I think I know John Okidi.
Yeah, so I reached out on Facebook, and luckily he responded. When he gave me an appointment and I met him for the first time, he asked me to sing a song. And I did. Hakuna mwingine tena kama baba wa mbinguni, and he was playing that keyboard
yes.
as I sing. We were the 2 of us. And then I didn't know he was doing programming. But he would tell me, just keep singing it. So he programmed. Then it was my first time, so I didn't know what he was doing. I thought he was just playing keyboard for me. So he told me to get into the booth and try singing the song I was singing.
So let me ask, you must have been lazima ulikuwa na sijui niite bahati ama it's the steps of the Lord, because for you the first time you get into studio, you are getting into studio with John Okidi.
Yes.
Not just any other producer.
Yes.
John Okidi. He's the guy behind Nyasai Nitie.
Yes. Yeah. He has done very, very powerful songs. They're very biblical.
Yes.
Based songs. And I've learned a lot from him. So the first time I went, it was God, by the way. It was favor that I didn't deserve.
Unmerited.
Unmerited, yeah. So I went, he programmed, he asked me to sing that song. I just went to introduce myself and to get to know him and tell him that I have songs that I've written and all that. And he told me to sing one of my favorite, any song. And he did that, and he asked me to get into the booth. So it was the first time. And I sang it. And in my mind, I've always known that any opportunity to sing is an opportunity to serve God. So I would sing, and I sang, sing and feel. And he was also touched with the song. And when I was done, I went home. And it found by then my mom had passed on. My mom passed on in 2011. So we were staying ourselves, our siblings together. So when I was going back home, then he sent me that song on WhatsApp. And it was the first time to hear my voice recorded. And I loved everything about it. I was amazed. I slept with earphones on my ears.
Listening to yourself. Unajisikiza tu pole pole.
Nilisikiza mpaka asubuhi, but I don't remember sleeping that day. And then he also noted that I could do different voices, because for that song, after singing, he asked me to do backup. So I did all the voices. So he realized I could do all the voices. So the following day, he called me back to the studio, and he told me, Sarah, come. There's some work I want to help you. I want you to help me do. So when I went, he gave me quite a number of songs to do backup. So I would do backup and anipea fair.
So let me ask, the first session that you are with John Okidi, did you pay for it, Ama?
No. No.
Just?
No. He just told me to sing a song.
And he produced it and he packaged it and...
Yes,
and now he's the one paying you.
2 minutes, yeah.
And now,
yeah.
Now he's the one paying you.
Yes. It was a 2 to 3 minute song. It's a common worship song.
Yes.
And when I went back the following day, I realized simu yake ikipigwa, it is that song ringing. Ameka kama ringtone. And I was amazed. And then he called me to do these backups. Angenipatia fair. But now akaniambia, since you have your own songs, we can be doing this. You help me with a lot of work here, and I program for you your songs.
Your songs.
So I didn't focus much into pesa nipatia till nimefanya backup anilipe.
But the ministry.
Yeah, so I would do that, and then when he doesn't have clients, ananiambia, no, Sarah, leta ile song yako yenye umeniambia. And I started with the song called Roho. And he was amazed with this song. It was a powerful song. But now releasing them, I released I did quite a number of them, around 6. Then on releasing, I started with a song called Roho. So people knew me with Roho. Because when I did it, remember he did them. Right? I didn't pay, but if I said I paid, that would be lying. And then there's a time, a video producer, his friend, went to him. His company is called King's Camp. It's Philip. Went to him and told him, Okidi, I bought some machines, some video machines. I want to test them with a good song. Do you have a good song in the studio? And luckily, we had just done Roho.
Yes.
So akamwambia, yeah, there's a girl mwenye amemba song ingine hapa mzuri sana. Let me give it to you, ski. Jamaa kupewa hiyo Roho. Akasema basi, sasa hii ndio ninaenda kufanyia video. Akaenda, akaniambia, Sarah, you prepare by Saturday we go and do this video. So mimi nikaenda nikatafuta nguo, nikatafuta marafiki wa kunisaidia kudance. So we met, akatafuta mpaka place. Actually alishoot hiyo video kwa nyumba ya relative wake. Huyo jamaa wa video. Akashoot, akafanya editing na kila kitu. I didn't cater for any. Actually I remember what I bought ni maji tu na drinks za watu kukunywa. So akamaliza. So vile alimaliza hiyo, si alikuwa anataka kumarket kazi yake. Akaanza kupeleka hiyo song mara MTV, mara Citizen, mara Ramogi. Alipeleka hiyo song places mingi. Okidi pia na songs zake akipeana
the audios now.
Akapeana mpaka hizo zangu. So that is how my songs went viral.
So for you
for me, God has worked
for you, it's God, because
it's been purely God.
For you it's God.
Yeah.
What was the first time, or how was the feeling when you first heard yourself on radio?
Yeah, I can't even tell that kind of feeling.
Ilikuwa station gani?
Ramogi. Okay, initially people would tell me, Sarah, tumekusikia. And I'm like, mmenisikia wapi? Ramogi FM. Oh, Sarah, tumekuona. And watu wananitumia
hizo wamerecord TV.
Umetuma ulikuwa TV, Citizen TV. Citizen is a big station.
And Ramogi actually is big.
Yeah, Ramogi is
very big. Actually for me, I'm also a radio presenter.
Yeah.
But I don't work at Ramogi.
Yeah.
And when the times I go back nyumbani, people ask me, unafanya kazi wapi?
Yeah.
if you're not in Ramogi and you're not in city, where are you? Because back in the village, actually, it is Ramogi.
They only listen to Ramogi. It was a great feeling. I can't explain it. It was a good feeling. But I felt like it ambushed me. I was not ready for it.
You are young. How old are you?
I was not ready for the fame. Actually, I had, because the first time they were telling me that I released the first song in 2014. I had just finished my campus. I just graduated in October. So I was not very old. 24, 25.
That's good. Right.
So I felt like, when you get to meet people, and then now the producer,
Okidi.
He's a minister.
Yes.
So he would be called. He's called for meetings, and he's like, Sarah, there's a meeting coming up. Let's go.
Let's go.
So I would go, and mimi nimeenda kama jatingdai, mtu assist
you're just
kumsaidia kumbebea Bible and things like that. But now I come to realize that watu wamesikia Sarah Brenda amefika. Sarah Brenda hilo alikuwa anasikia kwa radio na TV. Amefika, so wanataka kunitreat vingine, and I'm like, this thing has ambushed me. I'm not ready for this kind of treatment. But it was the work of God. It was just God. It has been God at work. By then, for my ministry, it's purely God at work. Because I don't strain going around doing things or pushing, It is just God doing it. Yeah, purely.
Speaking of radio, I think the first time I heard of you was through Ramogi, actually. The song was Lweny Maro.
Nice.
I think that was it was a big song.
That was a favorite song to Ruth Nyajimo. Ruth Nyajimo, she played it until I was like, this lady loves this song. And I've never met her. They just do it purely. And then there's a time some presenters, and it
I don't think Oguyo used to do the drive, the 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
There's this guy.
Nilikuwa nafanya time gani?
Saa zingine hapo afternoon, saa zingine anaingia mid morning. If you leave VOJ Victor for very early morning, alipenda tune Suduto nasikia anaimba. But now for the Roho Maler, there's I think I'm forgetting the name. Is Oguyo still alive?
Yes. Don't kill Oguyo tiacha bwana.
But I think it is him. There's a time my bishop called me. And he said, Sarah, I was in my car going to work, and Okuyoku was talking about you. And I'm like, does this guy know this is my daughter? He was talking about this song, the song done Romaler. And I'm like, does he know this is my daughter, my very own daughter? And when they tell me that, I'm like, oh, imekuwa serious hivyo.
Is it that serious?
Yeah. But it's been a nice journey, just trusting God and letting God do His work. And
something I can say actually about Ramogi is when that's, let's say, a station or even a presenter, when they like a song, you are going to be famous as an artist, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Because they play it religiously.
Yes.
Like there's a song, Misango. I don't know. I think it's by Eunice Ogoma. The late Charles, who was, I think it's Charles, I'm not sure the name, who was the senator from Migori, who later became the senator from Migori, and he passed. Used to play that song at exactly 6:03 each and every single day.
Wow.
So if you get a presenter who is playing your song daily at a particular time, as an artist, whether you like it or not, I think you're going to be elevated to a certain level.
Yeah, I think once if something is a blessing,
it's a blessing.
You don't use a lot of energy. And when some people subscribe to it, it is very hard to remove it from their head.
Yes, if it blesses you.
Yeah, because I've interacted with some cases whereby people think that you pay these presenters some money for them to play your
play for a song.
Yeah, and even other stations, like the last time I came for here in BHP, and they reached out and told me my song was a blessing, and I was coming to meet them for the first time for an interview, like this one.
This one, we are meeting for the first time.
So it is, if something is meant to be a blessing, it will be a blessing to anybody, despite their backgrounds or despite what they know about other artists.
And you are not going to use a lot of force.
Yeah, no.
The things of the Lord, when He opens the paths He has opened.
Yes. Basically, personally, what I do is just work for God. I mean, the much I can do is to be there to listen, to get the song, then I go to the studio. Once I'm ready with the song, God always makes a way. Once, by then my song book is very full, but once I feel that a certain song is now ready for production, God will just bring means of production.
How do you determine that this song is now ready for production?
I just feel in my spirit. I keep singing it, and I can't add anything to it. I can't subtract anything to it. So it's a song that is full. Like it just sings along. Then I feel like I need to go to the studio. So I reach out to a producer. I need to come. So God will just, but that God has been facilitating my production, literally. Yeah. Sikumbuki mali sasa mimi sasa nimekaa na save niende sivyo ndio ni itoshe hivi niende nifanye. Mungu tu there are some people Mungu ana command. Zile za tu sir, kwani did you stop? There's a friend who keeps sometimes he just calls and he tells me, Sarah, kwani did you stop?
Did you stop singing?
I said, no. I'm just working on a few stuff. No, kwani what is remaining? How much? Go and do it, you know? And they send you the money. And they...
You are sorted.
Yes.
The Lord.
Yeah, that is good.
He works in ways that we may try to understand. And at times we also may try to force things. But He says His time is the best. We may sometimes feel that this is the song, ndio wimbo, nangangana nayo unaisukuma, lakini like those days when artists used to produce CDs like 6 songs, nasema hii ndio itahit, but ukipeleka I find just ile ya mwisho ile hata uko nataka is what people resonate with.
It has happened with me. At some point I thought that a certain song would do better, and I think it was my human thinking.
Yes.
And I used a lot of money. I never strained in producing it though, but it was the most costly one. I did it, and it looked at me like this. I mean, it never went anywhere. It was there, and I was like, okay. Then nimefanya wrong. Then God has trained me to always retrieve back and think of how I started the journey. Did you start the journey to be a celebrity? What made you known? You see, what did you do to make you known? What do you want to do now to make you known? You see? Yeah, so God has trained me to fully depend on Him. In most things, especially in ministry. Okay, so let's talk about now the other side of ministry. In a ministry that you're most known for, because you also do Swahili songs, you do vernacular, the Luo songs, and most of the Luo artists who are in the ministry, they've remained steadfast. Let's say like John Okidi, he's remained steadfast. It has never reached a time that tunasema na ameenda secular. Almost all of them, as it's very rare. Okay, there are exceptions, but it is very rare to find like a vernacular artist
whether it's be it Luo, Kikuyu, Luya, diverging or going another path. That story is very different. Kikuja kwa, let's say, Swahili and urban gospel music. We can count, we can enumerate. Na tukianza kuhesabu hata tutahesabu mpaka kesho. What do you think? Mbona kuna hii differentiation? Mbona ikifika kwa vernacular, you vernacular artists muna remain steadfast to the Lord, but these other ones at times they fall off?
I don't think it's the vernacular per se, or the language that they sing with that cause them
to remain in the faith.
Yeah, but I think it's more of your intention when you get into ministry. So do you get into ministry? Okay, what makes people deviate and go to secular? Or what makes people come from secular to gospel? It is the change of heart. It is the change of heart. And most probably the priorities. I mean, what do you prioritize? Did you get into ministry for ministration or for celebrity or to earn? So when you've done ministry for some time and ushaona benefits, the positives and the negatives, now if you weigh, what do you prioritize more? Do you prioritize just being in faith and doing the things of the faith, or you'd rather chase? Because by the other side, the secular side is inatiririka pesa ya haraka inakuja ni pesa ya haraka, but one thing I know for sure ni pesa yenye it can last for a short time. But now, what satisfaction are you going for? Is it the short satisfaction of money,
the short term, or is it
or is it this long term? Because in gospel it's not like there's no money, there is money, but it's a money that goes through a process. You have to go through a process so that when God will give you this thing, you truly qualify to own that thing and you can sustain it. Okay, so it needs a process. If you don't want to go through the process, you run, slip away and go this other side. So I think it is more of a personal decision too. It is more of a personal decision. You just weigh things and just know why you started singing. Personally, if you ask me if I can do that, the only thing I know how to do is to work for God. It is to work for God. Whether in singing, whether in just sharing the word, you see, I'm just serving the people of God. That is the best thing I do. So anytime I find myself in an environment that is very secular, I'll feel like I'm not comfortable, you know. I want to be very comfortable, so it's something I can't do.
Okay. Sawa. Let's get a little bit into family. You told us you have 2 kids and you have you're a wife. For those who are curious, naweza tuambia kidogo how you met
my husband,
your better half?
Oh my God! No, I met him in 2009. But just as neighbors. He was living with his older brother at in Uruma Estate. My big sister was also living there with the family in 2009. So after I had done my Form 4, I went to my sister to help her take care of her children. So that is when I got to meet them, the two, him and his brother. But now we were just good neighbors. We were just good neighbors. We just chat. In fact, I was more social with the brother
than him.
So there was nothing. Actually, then I was very engaged with other things. My mind was focused elsewhere. But now later on they walihama. My sister also alihama. Later on, because we were not very much in touch, but there's a time when my mom was sick in 2011, before she died. We got to meet in town when we were going to visit my mom in hospital. Then tukakutana, I was with my other siblings, and he was like, Sarah, how are you? Nikapata alikuwa amekuwa mkubwa, you know, alikuwa mdogo. Nikamwambia, what has happened to you?
Nikula.
Umefura. And he laughed. We laughed it off. Tukamwambia, madhe ni mgonjwa, tunaenda kuona madhe and things like that. Akasema, sawa. So basi sisi anaendeleaje? You know, my sis was their neighbor. Wako poa, tunaenda kutana hosi. So later, basi wewe chukua namba yangu, ukitoka kwa madhe utaniambia vile kumeenda. So we would just talk as friends like that. Later on, madhe was discharged. Akakuja, alikuja akaona madhe. Alikuja kwa nyumba akaona mama in 2011. I don't know what they talked about, but we were not in a relationship. So, but later on, madha alikuwa ameshinda tu, ananiambia, Sarah, kijana wangu niletea hapa, ni kijana mzuri. Naomba mama, sasa mimi nafaa kufanyaje?
Sasa ni wewe umemleta ama amejileta?
Mimi nafaa kufanyaje? Actually, I was dating another person. I was friends with another person. So nikamwambia, mama, sasa nataka nifanye? I don't know. Sitasema ufanye kitu, but he's a good boy. Nikamwambia, sawa, yeah, he's a good boy. Sasa ni friend yangu, ni friend ya sis. He's a good person. Atio, si basi upatie dada yako mwenyewe. Nikamwambia, msumchukue tu. It was a funny conversation. And then, you know, she was also unwell, so sikutaka hataki kuongea mingi. Tunamwacha hivyo, na mama, see, you know how I am, because alikuwa anajua vizuri. Alikuwa anajua vizuri ni na date mtu mwingine. So
endelea tu.
Later on, it went on. It went on, and I think right.
Sorry for that. Later on it went?
Later on, we just continued the way we were
as friends.
As friends.
And you have your other person.
And then
so
my
mom
passed on. Around that time. We later on tukampeleka hosi. And then she passed on. Tumpeleka hosi on a Friday. The following Friday akapass on. 6 in the morning. So this friend of mine had again that mom passed on, and akakuja akatuambia pole, akaenda, tukaenda mazishi, tukarudi. So okay, baadaye my relationship iliharibika kabisa. Vile iliharibika, aingetengenezwa. Then he was just a good friend around there, but afterwards akaanza kuonyesha intentions zake za you know me, I love you, things like that. Then we started trying. I never thought I would marry him because I used to see him as a bad boy. I always tell him.
But it is, I don't know, I think it's a thing with ladies. Napenda bad boys.
I don't know, but me si ati nilikuwa nampenda. As in sikuwa napenda the bad boy. Actually I was scared because me, I was a church girl. So he's this guy who used to be, with red eyes and I was like, hapana, mimi siwezi. And but I knew him when he was not saved. In Isomato 9 he was not saved. So alikuwa mtu wa happy, things like that. But later on, hiyo time sasa analeta intentions zake. He was a changed man. And he was saved. He got saved. Just nikiona tu hivi, got saved. And some 2 years later, we wedded. 2 years. And he's been the best man I've ever met in this world. At times I look at him and I tell God, hey, akiwe Mungu nanijua juu. Kwa akili yangu I would not marry this guy. But now this is the guy that he meant for me, because he's made my ministry very easy. He's very supportive. He's just the best person that God knew would fit Sarah. Yeah. And it's been now 8 years.
8 years, wow.
Yeah, it's been 8 years of God's faithfulness and God's peace, you know. Yeah, so for marriage kuna kwanga na ups and downs, but he's the most intelligent man I've ever met. Hatujaachana sana, lakini the way he handles issues unakuja unasema okay. So wazee wangapi wamemuingia kwa akili?
Anaongea kama wazee wa 10.
Yes, yeah. So
okay.
That's it.
In one of your songs, Tipo, I was scrolling through the internet and I bumped through a powerful story concerning the song. Would you mind sharing?
I don't. Tipo was written in 2015. I had just given birth to my firstborn daughter, and it was just a normal pregnancy. But when I went to the hospital, things were not working out, so it had to be CS. But the good thing, the mother and the daughter came out safely. But now, after the CS, I started feeling a lot of pain on my right side, along the wound. And I told the doctor, I'm feeling a lot of pain. And the doctor was like, it has been a major surgery. It is normal to feel a lot of pain. So for the 3 days I was in the hospital, nilikuwa nafika saa 9 jioni, nasikia baridi, na pain, yani mpaka sasa mimi nalia tu. Hapo kwa hospitali. Nikamwambia, of course they give you painkillers. And it went like that until the day I was discharged. Just got discharged, nikamwambia daktari, hapa hii side nyingine si feel mzuri sana. Akaniambia itaisha. Hii dawa nimekuspray, itakuwa sawa. Just take care of yourself. Unacho unaenda nyumbani. So 4 days after discharge, not even 4 days, a day after discharge, you can notice huku inafura. And then the 4th day, ilikuwa imefura sana. Along the scar, imefura ikainuka. And then it was very black. Of course, after you've given birth, your stomach is black because it had stretched. So inajaribu kurudi. But now it was very black, ikafura kabisa. Ukiguza unasikia imefura, yani inataka kubust. And it was, the pain was consistent. I would ukiguza hata kitu baridi hivi, and then unasikia ni side moja sasa inaumia sana. Then that 4th day at night, I went to the washroom to just relieve myself, nirudi nilale around 10 p.m. Then you see easy washrooms za kukalia, kikaa, and then my stomach was still big, ikashikana na mapaja, tumbo ikashikana na mapaja, so kuinuka kama ikafunua.
The wound yenye ilikuwa imeshonwa
yes, ikafunuka sasa na hii right side. So I stood up and I felt relief from the pain that I was feeling.
Wait.
Yeah.
I want to imagine that when umekatwa, that is for the cesarean, then unashonwa after hiyo. Yeah. So ni nini ilikuwa imeachana? The uzi yenye ilikuwa so ikabaki wazi hivyo.
Yeah, but now sana with the right side.
On the right side ikabaki wazi.
Ikabaki wazi.
And so, you felt relieved?
I felt so relieved because now I came to realize ilikuwa imeweka a lot of pus. So it was the pus ilikuwa imeswell. So vile imefunguka, the pus started coming out. So that was the relief I got. I felt so relieved, but now I started feeling harufu mbaya. So it was, nikasikia something warm is, going through mapaja hivi na hii side ya right. So kuangalia naona some very black things. Alafu na feel ni kama nimepona, you know, from the pain nilikuwa na feel, but sasa harufu, so nikashinda hata kutoka washroom. So nikaita my husband, kama something is happening. So kuona hivi akashtuka, akaita kazini yake, akamwambia we have to go to the hospital, the same hospital that is 4 days later, sinda. So kufika hiyo hosi, of course nilijaribu kupanguza, nikakatawel kakubwa ndio absorb, ilitoka mingi, yani it was too much, yani I was dying. If kama si Mungu ile ingenimaliza. So in the hospital, the first doctor we met, akaniangalia akasema, is this your firstborn child? Unajua saa hizo unataka tu mtu akuencourage ya kwamba utakuwa sawa. So this is serious. Is this your firstborn child? So my husband got pissed off with that question. And I was also disheartened. So with the same question, akamwambia nasi mwingine hapo anifanye dressing, akanipanguza. Wakasema we have to be admitted. So wakasema we have to pay like around 20,000 for admission. So we were reasoning, you know, we were just here 4 days ago. My wife complained that she was feeling unwell. And you insisted that it was just going to go.
She can go home.
Yeah. Now she's back with this issue. What do you think is the problem? So okay, they insisted and we paid. But now when in the hospital, of course we wanted to inquire and get to know what happened. So the next doctor the doctor that came in the morning, that was going around the wards, looked at me. It was some old doctor. He became so mad. Akakasirika, akasema, I want to know the doctor who did this surgery. I want to know the doctor who did this surgery. And he took makasi. He took a scissor. Unaona hiyo pati ile tumebaki hajafunguka vizuri. Akachukua makasi. Akafungua.
Now from left to right or from right to left.
You right unaona ilikisha funguka kiasi. Nikamwambia doc, aweke sasa dawa ya kupunguza pain, anauliza can you feel anything? This is dead. This is dead. Na hizo gloves akaingiza, anatoa mauchafu anangusha hivi chini. It was painful. It was painful. Nilijihurumia and then unaona that comment, this is dead. I want to know the doctor who did this. Na alifunga hapa na uchafu. So to me walishona na mauchafu and nika post the pass. So I stayed in the hospital for some time. They said I had to be there as we do the dressing until ikuwe sawa ndio nirudi theater ishonwe tena. So I was going to be there for like 3 weeks with an open stomach. And I also saw myself dying. So one Sunday morning when I was still there, I went to the washroom. Because sasa unaona ninafanywa dressing and it could not I could not walk straight. Unapata kuna nasa amefunga kwa nguvu, so lazima utembee umeinama. Ulale umejikunja, you know, huwezi fanya chochote. So one Sunday morning I went to the hospital. I went to the washroom. Kulikuwa na kioo kubwa kwa washroom. So kufika hapo nikajiangalia. Nikaona my mother's image. You know, the last time my mom passed on, I saw my mother's image on me. As in I was in the same state she was the last day she was passing on. With midomo zimekauka zina peel off. Alafu nimekonda. Alafu I'm in so much pain. So nilijiona nikajihurumia, nikajiuliza hapo kwa washroom. Nimefika hii point. Nikarudi kwa bed, nikaangalia mtoto wangu ile 4 days old. Nikalala kando yake, nikalia. And then in the process, some churches had started singing, doing intercessory. So there was a specific church doing intercessory.
Within the hospital?
No, just around. So I would hear.
Okay.
So when they were singing, I prayed. I was praying. Actually, when they were praying and singing, so sa time wanaimba mimi nilikuwa naomba, time wanaomba mimi nilikuwa naimba. So when they were praying, I was singing. I started singing that song, Tipo, and it was a prayer song.
Tipo means a shadow.
Shadow. I sang the song, and what I had seen was a very big shadow covering me. I could not see ahead of me. And I was walking through the shadow of death.
Literally,
yes.
Through the valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah, through the valley of the shadow of death. And I could not see ahead of me. And then I was not seeing a future with my children, my child.
Your child.
I looked at her. Nikajiuliza sasa mtoto nani atamchukua hizi? Nikajurumia, nikasema now I'm just from campus the other year.
Still
this year I just got married.
Just your first child and
my first child, and now I'm dying. So I prayed and I told God, God, I've seen a shadow. And if you don't go through with me, because it is your will, that's okay. But I know you can move this. It's a mountain, you can move it. But if you decide not to do it, then for your glory, that's fine.
Let your will be done.
Yes. So let your will be done. I got peace. And but then in that song, at the end of it, I got peace. I say, Angikwe. And when I got the peace, my husband came to see me around 10. And he saw me healed. And he said, hey, babe, kwani nini imefanyika? Unafeel vizuri leo? My husband is this, atakwambia tu kenye imemkujia. Unafeel vizuri leo? Una leo kuna nguvu, kuna life. Nikamwambia, in fact nataka tuombe discharge. I still have an open wound. Nikamwambia, I want us to ask for a discharge, because the more tunakaa hapa, it's like 5,000 and above on a daily basis. Bill inaingia. And I was not in employment. Yeye pia ni mtu anafanya vitu zake, meaning akiwa na mimi hapo hospitali vitu zimesimama. So nikamwambia, I'm thinking to tuombe discharge. Sasa ananiuliza, na sasa na hiyo open wound
utaenda nayo hivyo?
Nikamwambia, unaona, I'm thinking kwa nyumba itakuwa better. So kuna nurse mmoja, there was one nurse mbaba, some elderly man, alikuwa ananifanyia dressing na ananifunga carefully. Akimaliza nilikuwa nasimama tu straight. Nikamwambia, we can talk to huyu nurse, aenda tufanyie dressing kwa nyumba. So when we were talking, nikamwambia, I'll talk to the doctor akikuja asubuhi. So when we were talking with the doctor, nikamwambia, nilidanganya, nikamwambia there's a clinic around my home, I'll just be going for dressing because hii bill inakuwa mingi. Luckily alikubali. Nikamwambia for review, I'll be coming on a weekly basis for review. And the doctor had also told me that I would remain like that for like 3 weeks when we're doing dressing. Ikishakuwa safi kabisa. Safi inamaanisha ikuwe red.
Ilikuwa black.
Ilikuwa black because of the
uchafu and everything.
Yeah, so ananiambia ikishakuwa hivyo, so we can opt to go to theater ishonwe, ama ifanywe to dressing iendelee kufanywa ikihili yenyewe. When we went home, we opted that ifanywe tu ikihili, because now I was scared of theater. Nilikuwa nafikiria tu tena watashona kitu kingine.
Watashona vitu zao.
Yeah, we went home. We were given that discharge. We went home, and luckily that nurse agreed. So ilikuwa mpango ya kando tu.
Home dressing.
Yes, so angeza kuja asubuhi before the job, jioni. Alifanya from your October mpaka 24th December. I was still doing guests. And then because he was elderly and mature, on the 24th akaniambia, now we can stop the dressing. The wound has healed and you don't need to cover it. Let it just be. and it healed. Though it healed na shape yake, but it healed. I didn't go. I thank God I didn't go back to theater. I got healed. Unajua mentally kuna hiyo postpartum depression. I got it, and I realized it was a challenge getting along with my child for some time. But God helped me. We are trying to be very good parents. We are very good friends to our children. Now we have to. Yes, we saw God.
Ndio tunasema amen. And I think it also brings to the for me inanionyesha we at times may take our mothers for granted. Because giving birth itself is a matter of life and death. It's a matter of life and death.
The hand of God.
Yes, it's a matter of life and death. Now, our mothers, they literally put themselves on the line of fire when giving us life. Okay, so I think as we almost conclude, one thing I've gotten from you is that at times we may want to plan our own things, but God akona mpango yenye ameshaweka, and things they work for the good of those who align themselves with the will of the Lord. For example, you told us when it comes to your music, things just the path. He created a path literally where there is none. Sisi kazi yetu inapaswa iwe ni kufuata tu hiyo njia yenye, and to be also ready and willing, because at times pia tunaweza jaribu wenyewe, tunang'ang'ana to create our own path. Yes, and we are not sure where it leads. It may lead to destruction or something. But the paths the Lord mwenyewe ameweka will definitely bring us to fruition. As we conclude, sijui you have a new project, by the way, haijakaa sana. Is it 1 month old?
It's 1 month old.
Tell us something about it.
That's a song I wrote in 2013.
How many? 10 years later? Why?
Yes. They're just in my book. I have quite a number of them that I even wrote earlier than 2013. So what happens is that anytime I feel like this song is now ripe, that is when I take it to the studio. It's a song that just exalts God. It's a song that tells us vile Mungu ni simba lakini analinda kondoo. Unajua simba kwa kawaida simba
atakula kondoo.
Anataka kukula kondoo. Lakini huyu ni simba ambaye akiwa na kondoo 100 akirealize
mmoja amepotea,
ataacha hawa, anajua wako safe, aende yule mmoja. So and the many miracles that he did, the miracles that we see, like he shed red blood, very red, but this, we are told that this blood washes and makes you white as snow. And you ask yourself, how come a red blood can wash you to be as white as snow? And then there's a time he went to, was it in Capernaum, when he turned water into wine. So he turns the water into wine, and this is something that it usually takes processes. It's a process of fermentation and all those things. And for him,
you've told us you've seen that process before.
You see, so I was thinking, my mind was getting exploded with these big things, and I started writing them down, and I came to a point of realizing that, the love that God has for us is beyond our thinking, beyond our imagination. We can't comprehend it, because we are told that His love is as deeper than the ocean, higher than the mountains, and indeed, if you start looking at things the way He does things around you without even you knowing, and maybe something was to happen to you and you come to realize, if I had not left this place, that thing would have crushed me. What made you leave that place if not God? You see? So His love is beyond our thinking, beyond our comprehension. And when I was doing it, I just wanted to tell people and to tell God how we imagine He is, and to tell people that the love of God cannot be compared to anything. So at the end of it, you hear me say, Okalo parona, Okalo riakomara, Uyomuni una Yesu yatelo afanyanika, Ieramo Okalo. See. Yeah, so
it's beyond understanding.
Yes.
It's beyond our knowledge.
Yes. I've realized Okaloparona
is beyond my understanding or my thinking. Is beyond my knowledge or wisdom.
Yeah, Okalongeyona.
That is still knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah, then you
I've realized that you love me beyond measure.
Yes, yeah. So that is all about it.
Right, I think our viewers can go to your YouTube channel, of course. Jimbo zako ziko hapo.
Yes.
Get blessed by some of those songs. As I've said before, you do not only have nyimbo kwa Kijaluo. Kwa hivyo you can get Swahili songs there and very nice worship songs hapo. Pia natumai kwamba zitakuwa zinakubariki. Tukimaliza, would you before we conclude, I'd like us, I'd like you to see for us a small part of Lweny Roho. But before that, what would be your parting shot?
My parting shot is there's no better thing. There's no better place than living in the will of God, or just giving your life to God. So for my viewer who has not given their life to God, I would encourage you to just give your life to God. I mean, it is an amazing love story that you get to realize once you get into it, and you get to realize that there's no better place you can ever be, because everything is vanity, everything is passing. You know, the many things that we chase around here, they are pleasures that just pass.
They pass.
But there's one lasting thing, that is the love of God. And every word that He has spoken is just true. Personally, they are coming to pass. I see every day, I see the faithfulness of God. You can realize this once you give your life to God. So giving your life to Jesus is the best thing you can do for yourself. Yeah.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay, sawa. Thank you for tuning in kwa mtazamaji wetu. Asante sana kwa kutegea. I think till next time, that is next week, we are going to have another beautiful story. We see the Lord working through our lives and through people who have been ministering to us, and we get such like beautiful stories. As Sarah, you've told us, one thing I've also drawn from your story is, and I keep repeating this: following the will of the Lord. Let us obey the will of the Lord. Let us live according to His teachings, and let us not try to force things. Tusijaribu kungangana sijui nini. Most of these things work out for the good of the people of the Lord.
Yes.
As we conclude, Lweny Roho.
Kingono ayora Kingono ayoro Lweny mawakedo Roho Nasachotelonoa Wayora wadhi onyime Kingono ayoro Lweny mawakedo Roho Nasachotelonoa Kata weche ng'eny wadhi adhiya Kingono ayoro Lweny mawakedo Roho Nasachotelonwa masiche biro amuma Kingono ayoro Lweny mawakedo Roho Nasachotelonwa. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Remember to like, comment, subscribe tafadhali. If ukiwa na jirani, marafiki, share at least tupate kuenjoy this story together, and many more to come. My name is Elvis Omonde. Tupatane tena wiki ijayo.